We're back with our weekly podcast, and this week we've got the man behind the madness, the Richard James here, and I've got 73 whole questions to ask him. When did you open your first Richard James office?
That was 1992, general election day.
Do you remember the date?
Yeah, April 1st, I think, April Fool's Day.
And what
Funnily
made you
enough.
want to be an estate agent?
I dropped out of college and we had someone come around to value the house. He turned up in a nice car, shiny suit. I thought, that'll do.
Good career prospects. What's been your best business decision so far?
My best business decision.
Doing this podcast?
Oh, no, I tell you what, I think a good friend of mine said a long time ago when I was messing around with a few different businesses, he said, just concentrate on your core business. And I stopped playing around with various other interests.
And what do you think it takes to be a great estate agent?
What is it?
Shiny
what does it
suit,
take?
nice car.
Yeah, shiny suit, nice car. No, I think you just got to get on with people mainly. I think that you either take to this job or you don't. I think it's a really difficult thing to instill the bit that makes you really good at it. I think that's really difficult to train, you know? You're just wired that way or not.
Our sister brand in Hove Missions, how did that come about?
I was tricked into it. No.
On April Fool's
no.
Day as well?
No, that was a friend of a friend. I think the business was not doing particularly well at the time, and a friend of mine said, would I like to get involved? I was living down there, and my wife was booking me things like, art classes for the day because I was bored and stuff like this, or flower pressing. And I think I realised I needed to actually do something a little bit more...
Good choice.
Something I could, actually understand.
Who was your idol growing up?
Probably Simon Le Bon.
Who is this guy?
Yeah,
For those who might not know, younger listeners that weren't
we're
born in
gonna have to edit that out.
1940.
No, it was like the lead singer of Duran Duran at the time, I think. But he seemed to do all right.
What's your favourite movie?
Well, the ones I always used to talk to my kids about is, I said, oh, come on, let's go and watch Top Gun. And
Yeah.
they, for 20 years, have said, for the last 10 years, sorry, have said, no, not interested. But since
What?
they've
That's a
seen the
great
second
film.
one,
Oh, okay.
they've now gone back to watch the first one and they understand it.
Why was that your favourite film?
Oh, it's about the only one I can remember.
God's sake. What motivates you?
What motivates me? I think it's just the sense of, achievement as opposed to, money or whatever. It's just the fact of, to get up and say, listen, we did that or whatever.
And what would your death row meal be?
My death row
Obviously,
meal.
we hope you don't end up on death row, but in case.
That would be a Five Guys cheese bacon burger with that huge big bucket of fries that comes with it, the Cajun ones. Yeah.
Would you rather jump out a plane or eat a worm?
Jump out of a plane.
What's your favourite biscuit?
God, that's tricky.
Every single one.
I don't know. Do you know what? It's probably a chocolate digestive.
Your favourite pudding?
That would just be something, a Ben and Jerry's
Good choice.
caramel choo-choo or something
Oh,
like
yes,
that.
that is the best one. So much nicer than cookie dough. What 3 words would your kids use to describe you?
Over, weight.
Not now. Not now you're 5 kilos down.
I think they'd say, what would they say? I think they say it was entertaining. I'd like to think so anyway.
And another 2? Oh, overweight.
Overweight.
And then 2. You must have been the perfect Santa then from when they were younger. What would your wife say about you? 3 words.
What would she say? Annoying. I think she'd probably say letters. She'd probably give 4 letters. She'd say ADHD.
And if you were a car, what would you be?
A DB11.
Why?
Why not? It's a beautiful car.
Would you consider yourself the human version of a DB11?
No.
Good answer. Which office did you open after Rawton?
Commercial Road.
And what made you want to open there?
Because I think we'd just been out in Rawton for a few years. I left Rawton to go out to the States for a while and got my real estate license out there. And then when I came back, I just thought, that I need to do something else. And Commercial Road at the time, back in the early 90s, was, the place where every estate agent in town had an office.
And have you got a funny viewing story to tell us?
Have I got a funny viewing
One
story?
that you've never forgotten?
Well, I think you're referring to that time when I sold a house I didn't even have on the market. Don't you? I did turn up to a house in Rawton. I'm not going to name the road. And I met this couple out the front. Knocked on the door. It said, "Beware of the dog." But anyway, no dog there. But anyway, I went in, showed them around. It was a real mess. This house, beds unmade. Just really not viewing ready. But I showed these people around. They called me up about. They were really surprised how big it was. It had a nice extension. They called me up about half hour later to offer. And then I realised actually it was completely the wrong house. It wasn't even on the market with us. I'd literally just been in and I'd wandered around somebody else's house. But that was a long time ago. I'm a little bit more.
Did they buy something in the end? Did you find them an alternative?
Yeah, not that one.
No. Why do you think Swindon is a great place to live?
I think Swindon it punches above its weight. I know it gets a little bit of a bad rap sometimes, but I think it's a really good, affordable place. I think it's really friendly, and there's just a really nice community here.
And what was your favourite subject at school?
Favourite subject? Do you know what? I don't even know that I had one. I didn't really get too many qualifications at school. DT maybe.
What did you like making?
I think the only thing I remember making was a bracket to hold a spade. But we had that in the garage for about 10 years.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Worked.
Worth keeping then.
Yeah.
Football or rugby?
Football.
What team do you support?
Brighton and Hove.
If you could be a superhero, which one would you be?
Super. I don't know. I have no idea. Superman.
What is 36 times 13?
That is 360 plus 39. That is 399.
Is it?
I
don't
think
know.
so.
I'll check later. Favourite place in Swindon to have dinner?
The Los Gatos.
If we left you on a desert island, which 3 items would you have to have with you?
I would take a Beatles album. Mm-hmm. Probably a record player, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Is that a bit old-fashioned?
No, we can get that on the plane.
All right.
That's fine.
And a comfortable sunbed.
That might not go on the plane, but we move.
You didn't say anything about does it have to go on a plane.
Where is the best place you've ever visited?
I'm a big fan of Thailand.
Yeah, me too.
Some of the more remote little islands.
And what is your favourite animal?
My favourite. Where'd you get these questions?
I don't even like
know.
animals, so I wouldn't even be able to choose.
Well, it's not our cat. I can tell you that much because I'm slightly allergic to it. And it's put me in hospital twice.
Oh my God. Slightly
on a
allergic.
nebulizer. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess just a nice dog that somebody else would walk for me.
I was expecting you to say lion, so I'm surprised by dog, to be fair. What do you think we do as a business that others don't?
Well, we sell more houses than anyone else in town. I know that much. But no, I think we've got a really kind of good, close-knit team. I think everyone gets on. I think, it was good when we went out bowling the other week. I think it was a sort of 60, 70 of us turned up out of a workforce of about 90. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So, that's nice to see.
And what do you think the property market will do in 2023?
I think it will just calm down a little bit. I think that, I was thinking about this earlier on the way because I knew you'd ask me something like this, but I don't think we've seen what we call a normal market since before the financial crisis of 2008. Mm. But ultimately, the supply and demand equation still means that property is still going to be a decent long-term investment. And I mean, I read this week that something like net migration was 500,000 people last year. That's 500,000 people more living here, and we're still not anywhere near a target of building even 250,000 houses. So demand is still going to be there. I think prices might soften a little, but over the course of 3 to 4 years, I think, the phrase safest houses, I think your money, if you're putting it into property, is still going to be worth more in 2 or 3 years' time.
Good. And who was your biggest competition when you opened in 1992?
Well, I've actually got to name them.
I mean, if you think it's appropriate, I don't know. I didn't really think about that. What do you think? I suppose so. That was like 30 years ago.
Yeah. No, there was a guy called Rob Skirton down at Alden Harris.
We're going
who
by
was
name.
Really a great agent back in the day. I can say that now because he's not in town anymore. But no, you're really good agent. Worked very, very hard. I'd be going home, driving home in the evenings, and I'd see him at door knocking our boards and things like that.
And what 3 tips would you give to a first-time buyer?
Shop around for your mortgages. Look look at enough houses, and make sure that it's somewhere that when you want to move on, you can get out of relatively easily.
What's your star sign?
A Virgo.
What year did you pass your driving test?
1987.
First time?
Of course, 16 days after my 17th birthday.
Did you pay someone to pass you? Because that's ridiculous.
No.
16 days?
Yeah.
How did you learn? Quick learner.
I think we called it joyriding back in the 80s. No.
You'd been driving for 3 years previous.
I didn't say that.
Where did you go to school?
Morden and then Herriot Burner. No, it changed to Herriot Parkway. I remember everyone thinking it sounded like a prison.
Yeah, it does. It's changed again now, hasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, something else now. I don't know what it is.
Herriot, I think it's just called now.
Nova Herriot, I think.
Is it?
Who was your favourite teacher? Do you remember? Did you let anyone teach you?
Do you know? No, we did have this art teacher. I can't remember her name, but she used to get dropped off to school in her boyfriend's 911, and everybody, all the young boys at school, were like, I think it was Mrs. Lever or something like that. I'm not sure.
And what song are the lyrics, but please don't put your life in the hands of a rock and roll band who will throw it all away from?
Which song?
Yeah.
Don't Look Back in Anger.
Oh, very good.
That's not very good. Anyone of my age knows that's an Oasis line.
What, lyric by lyric? I don't reckon
of course,
they do.
Yeah, go on.
I'm impressed by that. What did you want to do as a kid?
I had no idea, Jess. I didn't have any idea up until that day that we had our house valued. I think I worked for my dad for about 3 days fitting kitchens. And that was
3 whole ones?
Yeah, then I had to leave. It's like I didn't want to do that.
What's your favourite thing to do at the weekend?
I spend a lot of time with the boys. Freddie plays rugby. I take him to the gym. So I spend a lot of time stood on cold pitches.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's my favourite thing, but it's nice to see the kids doing well.
And what advice would you give your younger self?
Get a proper job.
What's been the highlight of your career so far?
I don't know, there's a lot of things over the years that I think we've done well. We opened, I think when we opened up in Old Town, that was good. But I think because we kind of grown a little bit every year. I thought COVID we handled quite well. But I don't know if there's one particular thing that stands out, if I'm honest.
And what's the best advice you've ever been given?
I think the best advice, probably understand what it is you're aiming for and reverse engineer it, work back,
Who gave it to you?
So that's a friend of mine called Irv, who would always talk about having this, just having a plan and saying, look, if you want to be there in X amount of years, it's not just going to happen, on year 9 of a 10-year plan. You actually, if you want to be somewhere on that date, You need to really kind of work that back to where you need to be today. And we do that in the business where you can look at a target and actually work it back to how many phone calls do the team need to make today to hit that number that enables that whole sequence of events to happen.
Take place. And what tips would you give to a seller who's getting ready to put their house on the market?
Don't overthink it. A lot of people kind of talk about getting ready to sell. I mean, obviously you want to declutter a house. But we see a lot of people that really overthink what they need to do. The house is, if it's in a nice location or whatever it is, people will buy it. So yeah, declutter probably, but that's about it.
And what advice would you give to someone who's sold but struggling to find their next home?
Just be a little bit patient. We can see that stock is increasing all the time. That last year there were times when we literally had about half a dozen houses left for sale in each office. And those numbers are probably 35, 40 houses each. And I think that next year you'll see, a much more balanced relationship between supply and demand.
How do you switch off or unwind? Think.
I don't know that I do. I spend far too much time just scrolling on my phone, which is probably like the most annoying thing to my wife, who would kind of say to me, "What did I say?" And I'm like, I've got no idea. But I don't know. I cycle over the downs a little bit, but I don't know that I ever properly switch off. I think that's one of the most annoying things about me as far as my wife is concerned.
Who do you think will win the World Cup?
Do you know, I've only watched 2 games. Maybe Portugal.
Good guess. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Hopefully not in this seat. No.
We'll
10
follow up
years.
in
Do you
10
know,
years.
Jess, 10 years I'll be 62. Somewhere
Cool.
warm. Somewhere warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be, because your bones and stuff will be aging and the warmth will help them
Thank
age
you. Thanks for
slower.
that.
What are you looking forward to this Christmas?
This Christmas, I am off to a tiny little island called Koh Lanta in
Oh, I've
Thailand.
been there. Lush.
Yeah. So we're going to stay in a beach hut and
Nice. Chill.
watch the sunset and not do very much.
Do that relaxing that you...
Yeah, but no, I'll
Maybe
be out on a little
struggle to do.
moped every day or something like that, whizzing around.
And what's your favourite Christmas film? There aren't that many
Not
good
that
ones,
many
to be
Christmas
fair,
films,
no.
is it?
Love Actually, The Holiday.
Yeah, that'll do. Anything like that, really.
If you weren't an estate agent, what do you think you would have been?
Do you know what? The thing that I really like doing is is whether you're renovating, refurbish, building a house
yeah.
or something like that. So something around
Building,
development.
development.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Favourite Christmas song? You don't have to sing it, I just
Oh.
need the title would be sufficient.
Favorite Christmas song. Where's it? These questions, Jess? I don't
Jingle
know. Band-Aid.
bells. Oh yeah, that'll do. That's fine. Yeah. Look, poor question. To be
Yeah.
Outside of work, what's been your favourite project to work on?
I think that's just back down to housing again. I mean, we were lucky to buy an old house down in an old care home down in Hove where we live, and that was about a whole year-long project through COVID. I remember when COVID hit, we were stood in the cellar looking up 3 stories and
Oh,
didn't even have a
gosh.
roof on,
Oh, no.
And then COVID hit and all the builders left. But I like a challenge. That was probably my single biggest achievement to redevelop that house, and that's turned out into a lovely family home for us.
And what's the best present you've ever been given?
I don't think I've been given it yet.
Pending.
Pending it.
Everyone better listen to this. Hopefully someone will come up with something this Christmas.
I'll give you a list.
What was your favourite age?
30s, I would say.
What year would that have been?
My favourite age?
Yeah.
Not the
What year?
1930s, when
No,
the decade
I know
of
that.
30s.
Yeah, but
So
what year? What year would you have been 30?
2000. So kind of from, I don't know, 98, 99 through to, late. That decade was great.
Why? What were
Because I think that, by then you've found your way in life a little bit, but you still really feel, young or whatever. I think 40 was fine. 50 was the point in which I started feeling a bit older.
Who would you take to a desert island?
Oh, clearly my wife.
Good choice. Really good answer. If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your entire life, what would it be?
Let It Be.
Pineapple on pizza?
100%.
Yes. Chocolate in the fridge or out the fridge?
In the fridge. Dairy milk.
Yeah, good choice. Ketchup in the fridge or out the fridge?
I don't think it matters.
Would you rather be 4'5" or 7'7"? Dead serious.
7'7".
Would you rather mentally or physically never age?
But that's weird. From what age? Because what you mean, like if you're
You mean
one,
like
year,
when
if
you're
you're
like-
1 year old and you never age?
No, like when you're
Mentally.
like old, would you rather age from here
what
on,
age? So what age am I? Am I like
So, like,
30
from
and
here-
not aging from now?
from like here on out? You're gonna age, right?
Yeah.
So would you rather age mentally? Would you rather age physically?
Mentally.
So you'd rather be like a crazy dude dancing than sort of fair. Yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It should be this really old guy that was still super fit and could
But can't move. Yeah, I don't know.
No, could still move. You got that the wrong way around. I'd be
Yeah, but like if you,
mentally
yeah.
unstable,
but you could
but
still move.
still
yeah,
able to run about and
yeah.
you know.
To be you be the crazy dude dancing. Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
that would be fine.
Would you rather hear good news or bad news first?
Bad news.
The last question. You've got one question for me. What do you want to ask? I know what's coming. Choose
What is
one
that
for
question?
me. You're going to say, "Oh, hey Dan,
No.
can I go?"
Can we play the question game?
You can.
You know,
stop now,
the one
too.
where you answer a question with another question. You ready?
Yeah, go on then.
See, you failed already.
Oh.
You should have said.
Yeah, no.
You
Well, that
have
would
to
have been
answer a
good.
question with
Stop
another
it.
question.
Okay, fine. Say it again.
So you have to answer a question with another question.
What you doing today?
What am I doing today? See, I think I failed there.
Yeah, because you didn't answer.
That's a terrible
Stop
way
it.
of thinking,
Quit.
right.
Yeah. Piss over. Thanks, James.